Hey guys, so this is going to be a review of Elvis. Now, I'm not going to get into any kind of like drama, well, not drama, but always with biopics, there's always someone who's not happy with the accuracy and stuff like that, in how accurate it is. I can't even speak, how accurate the actual film is, but I'm not even going to really get into that. So, I know I'm like the last one on the bandwagon to see this film. I'm going to be honest with you now. I have listened to a few songs of Elvis. I do like it, but I wouldn't say I was a die-hard fan of Elvis. The only reason that I wanted to see this film mainly was because Austin Butler. I don't know what he's been in. I don't know if he's the guy who played it. I don't think the clown in it. I don't think it's him, but he's hot. I'm sorry, I'm just putting that. He's hot, and I thought, you know what, let's watch this film. But I've learned a lot from this film, like a lot about Elvis. So the only other kind of biopic, like latest biopic I've seen, well, not latest, it came out how many years ago, is the Bohemian Rhapsody. Now, this one, it takes an interesting turn. So, this one is kind of like told by his manager, Tom Parker, which I will get to in a minute. And he's played by Tom Hanks. So he's kind of telling the story. Obviously, it's not him constantly talking, there's obviously other dialogue, but he's kind of being the narrator of the film. And if if you know, like, you're heavy in Elvis, you will know the whole thing where people say that he caused Elvis's death. I believe he contributed to it, because it turns out he's not all what he seems. But yeah, so there's that. But he's trying to say, he's trying to justify the reason is not. Obviously, his actual manager is dead. I assume so. Yeah, yeah, he is. But anyway, so it's played by Tom Hanks. Now, I think I remember hearing about this. So Tom Hanks is wearing a fat suit and his makeup and everything, and to make him look a lot fatter and stuff like that. I've seen worse. I've seen worse actors wearing fat suits and it looks terrible. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's not terrible. I will say his voice skills, you can still hear a little bit of Tom Hanks, if that makes any sense. Does that make any sense? Like, he was putting on that accent, but in between that accent, it sounded like Tom Hanks. Is that hard to... I don't know if you get what I'm talking about, but anyway. So basically, that's what it is. It starts from his life, from like start to finish. But I had no idea that. So the whole thing was like, if you're not, well, it's not really spoiling anything, because it's you anyway. But I never knew that he was actually brought up in a black community, and the reason why they didn't want him to do the whole kind of like shaking his hips and stuff wasn't just for sexuality thing. It's because the black people were doing it and they didn't want it, and they said it was interracial, and in the end he took the chance of a performance, and they said no gyrate, and he gyrates, and it's like, okay, you're off. You're either going to jail, juvie for 2 years, or you're going to the military. And he went to the military, I think it was for 2 years, and that's how he met Priscilla. Now, okay, so obviously we all know he met Priscilla when she was 14. Now, obviously they didn't kind of go into it in the film, but they did imply, because the actor who plays her, Olivia, I don't know how old she is, but when they first meet, she looks very, very, very young anyway. So they sort of imply it anyway, because she did a little young, but obviously they weren't gonna kind of build it up because it's not really that needed. But also, it was Priscilla. Apparently Priscilla was involved, and his daughter was involved in this. But don't get me started on Priscilla. You've probably heard. I know I'm not like a huge fan of Elvis, but I know she's been spreading like shit, and then so it surprised me that she actually would help work on this for this movie. But then again, it's money, isn't it? So there's that thing. But it actually quite shocked me, actually, what I learned. I learned quite a bit from this biopic. So if you are interested in that, even if you're not necessarily interested in Elvis, I think it's one of those really, because he kind of set like a cool, it's cultural sort of. It's just, oh, I don't know. Just I just didn't know he was that kind of, like, you just learn so much about people. Like, he tried to change like cultural kind of feelings around that time and everything. So on to Austin Butler. He plays a really good Elvis. He's really good acting and everything like that. It's just really, really good. Um, so that obviously that's a good thing because, I mean, you know, apparently they picked him, as I said, Priscilla and his, I don't even know what his daughter's name is actually, but apparently they actually picked him to play Elvis, so they did a good job in that. But overall, I really enjoyed it. As I said, it's a different take where it had like the narration and stuff like that. Um, it is a sad story, because in the end he just got screwed over, like screwed over by his manager, which you'll find out he's just information on him. His dad screwed him, well, not screwed him over, but squeezed him empty of cash, which reminds me of what's happening now with a certain celebrity, which happened with the conversion ship was set for. But it's sad because if his mother hadn't have died, I think this would have never happened. I don't think he would have ever got screwed over and everything. It's just so sad. It's like, oh my god, trying not to cry because I can't do all this. I do not want to cry. But overall, if I was to rate this, I would probably rate it out of, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. As I said, I learned quite a bit. I mean, if you like die hard things, you need to look for accuracies and stuff like that. And, you know, that's wrong, this is wrong, that's not perfect. But it was the same with Bohemian Rhapsody. People were like, well, it's not 100% like factual, they miss things out and everything like that. But as long as they've got like the main stuff in, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter to me. But yeah, that is it for this review. So bye guys.